Hello, Moment friends! Andang here for another Ask Anything. This time I am very honored to introduce the lead script editor for Middle-earth Lore, a co-host on Lotro Academy, a blogger, a Twitch streamer, a co-host on Lotro Players News, and a good friend. Please welcome Teriadwyn.
Hi, hi!
Yeah, thank you, Teriadwyn, for agreeing to do this, first of all.
Of course. We
And
might not be such very good friends afterwards.
hopefully we will remain some kind of friendship after this. Um, But anyway, chat room, if you are new to this Ask Anything format, you can literally, just as it says, ask anything in the chat room, and Teriadwyn might answer it. She might give a false answer, or she might just totally move on because she doesn't want to answer it for whatever reason. But you are welcome to ask all questions to Teriadwyn in the chat there. And we actually have not had any submitted questions ahead of time, so I'm going to go ahead and go right into mine. I think that's more my fault because I didn't announce this very early as I did some other ones, but we're getting right into it. And this question, it might be an easy question or it might be a hard one, depends on your point of view, I guess. But why don't you like Bjornings?
Why don't I like Bjornings?
Yeah.
I actually don't dislike Bjornings, so that might come as a surprise.
Wow.
I just refer to them as overpowered furballs because they are.
Very true. Yeah. And apparently they're going to be not being overpowered, or they don't think that they're overpowered right now, and so they're going to make them more overpowered in a future
Right.
update, apparently,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah, because they're not already OP enough. They're gonna OP them up some more.
Because, they really need it. I mean, you know. All right, so next question. How did you get into podcasting?
Well, funny story. Let's see. It was what, 2 or so years ago? Andang had this Patreon thing where if you support him on Patreon, you could, for a certain amount, join the show of your choice that he was part of, which at the time included Lotro Players Adventures. So for my birthday that year, my mother gave me the funds to get my VIP in Lotro, and then there was a little bit left over because VIP in Lotro was on sale. So I donated to Andang, and I got on Lotro Players Adventures. And a few months after that, he asked if I would like to join Lotro Players Adventures as a show, and then some people were leaving Lotro Players News, so I was asked to join that show because I have nothing better to do with my time, obviously. And then we started Middle-earth Lore. Well, Andang started Middle-earth Lore, but I say we because I was involved in more of that than just script editing.
Yeah,
'cause
you're heavily
there were
involved
a lot
in
of calls.
it. Yeah, right-hand person, like
Right.
the associate producer, really, to be honest.
I was the official hand holder for that
The
project.
official hand holder. Very true, very true. Had you done any content creation before Lotro Players News?
I had not.
Okay,
I hadn't even started. I don't think I had even started streaming at the time.
cool. Well, glad to drag you into this swamp pool of a world.
Yeah, well, because the continuation of that story is we guested on Lotro Academy, and then Brannick asked me to join Lotro Academy also. So
Yeah,
ended up on 2 podcasts, and it just sort of happened.
which is kind of like Drax's story, I feel like, where it's like all of a sudden he woke up and he was on like 4 podcasts and like in a cold sweat. So I remember a story or two about what went on behind the scenes that I didn't even know about on the other end of Lotro Players Adventures. I heard that there was another group that went on, and Carve
Yes.
kind of talked about this a little bit, but if you could talk about it a little bit more about the struggles and hardships that group went through.
Okay, so shortly after my guest appearance on Lotro Players Adventures, because obviously with Players Adventures, it was a lot of people, but not all of them were on the call, because it was pretty much open to you guys would invite whoever as long as they were in the level range for what you guys were doing. But not everybody was on the call, so those of us who weren't on the call were trying to follow along based on what we could hear in the YouTube stream, which for me wasn't that great because my internet was not supporting the fact that YouTube was running while Lotro was running, so I could do one or the other, and so I was not really up on what the heck was going on. But shortly after I guested on the show, I was running around in game and got a tell from Carvet, and we started chatting, and he's like, "Hey, I've been in the group too, and we should maybe get a call going so we can maybe try to organize things for when the people on the show are, so it's not completely disorganized because it was completely disorganized anyway."
Kind of, yeah.
And so I was like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea." So we ended up basically whoever wasn't on the official call, we tried to round them up and get them into, I think we were using a Skype at the time. We would try to get them all in either Skype call or at the very worst, Lotro's voice chat, so we had some kind of voice communication. Not that it wasn't still ridiculously chaotic, but a little less chaotic than just everybody doing their own thing. Which is actually how I got to know Carve, and how I got to know Maven and the Tolkien Professor, because he had run with Mythgard on some stuff, and he introduced me to them, because they needed help with a Fornost instance. So I met Corey Olsen doing the Fornost instance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Why did you agree to do Lotra Players News?
It sounded like fun. Like not a whole lot of work. I basically just had to show up and talk about Lotro, which I was doing a lot of anyway.
There you go. Speaking and talking about Lotro, does anyone in your family listen to any podcast that you do? And if so, what is that like?
They do not.
They're just imaginary friends on the other end, right?
Yeah. Well, Mom has... I take that back. Mom listened to one episode of Players News while I was recording an episode of Players News, basically. She had it on her computer while I was recording, so I had the Mixler app for her. And that was just bizarre.
Yeah, it's a very different dynamic. Sprydra refuses to listen to anything that I produce pretty much at this point, I think. Just because she's like, I talk to you enough, don't need to listen to your videos about stuff. So it definitely is a different dynamic with family than it is with other people, I think. So it's just kind of funny how that works.
Yeah.
How did you get into Lotro?
How did I get into Lotro? Man, forever ago, I was doing this text-based role-playing thing online, and a game that I was playing on was closing, and some of the folks that I was playing with were already playing Lotro, and they're like, "Hey, there's this game that you can play, and it's free," and I'm all about the free. So I downloaded it and logged in, and of course at the time it was way late and there was nobody to talk to, so they didn't tell me what server they were on, so I ended up making a character on the wrong server, which is how I accidentally ended up with characters on multiple servers to begin with. And the problem that I had when I was getting into Lotro is that all of the friends were like, "Yeah, you can come play it, it'll be free and you can play with us," except they were all higher level and didn't come back and play with me. So it was still a lot of solo stuff. So yeah, Lotro Players Adventures was actually really the first group stuff that I really got into.
Was that out of any MMO or just Lotro?
Out of any MMO, because
wow.
the only other MMO I had played prior to Lotro was Wizard 101, which has its own group thing, but it's not a coordinated group thing.
Right. So you've since kind of sprout your wings a bit in the MMO space. What are some other MMOs you play now?
I play ESO on Tuesdays with Pineleaf and Brannick. I play Star Wars lots, and I dragged Sanswinda with me, and I dragged Brannick with me. Um, I have played Guild Wars 2. I have tried a bunch of different stuff that just hasn't stuck. So I've tried Rift, did the free trial in WoW 3 times. Didn't like it any of those 3 times. I'm trying to think what else. I've tried DDO.
It's a
It
different beast.
it was another thing that just didn't stick for whatever. Probably just because I didn't have anybody to play with. I feel like DDO would be a lot of fun if I had a group,
Yeah.
but I didn't have a group.
If you like group content in Lotro and you wish there was more group content in Lotro, just download DDO. It's all there. Get a group together in DDO and play that because it's very similar engine, different mechanics, but still a fairly similar engine. I think that most people would probably like that type of group content type stuff.
Yeah.
Brax does ask how you pronounce something, and I suppose he is starting his payback. I'm going to put it here in the Discord chat for you, and you can decide how to pronounce that, because I don't know.
You pronounce that. I have not got a clue. Ask a dwarf.
There you go.
It looks dwarvish to me, so
It does
ask
look
a dwarf.
dwarvish.
Bragg would
Adun
probably know.
Bleh.
Best guess, based on other dwarvish things that I do know the pronunciation of, best guess would be Aduna core.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. I don't know if Brax actually needs this help for like a next episode of Middle Earth lore. But we'll just assume that he's just being silly right now. Are there any non-MMOs that you play?
Um, I play lots of games that aren't MMOs. Um, I play a lot of silly little fiddly cheap games. There's this thing called Big Fish where they have like time management and hidden
Yeah.
object type things. I play tons of those. Those are great because with Big Fish, it doesn't. It's Big Fish is similar to Steam where it keeps a whole library of your games, but unlike Steam, you can actually be logged in on multiple computers. So like everybody in my house can have access to the games.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Because Mom really likes the hidden object ones.
Yeah, when I mostly played on a Mac, Big Fish was like one of the big game publishers for Mac because there aren't that
Yeah,
many. And
yeah.
so that was a big deal. Yeah, I played a lot of Big Fish games, and so did Sprite Rat. It was a lot of fun. Okay, changing subjects now. Thoros' least successful subject. What movies do you like?
What movies do I like? Um, well, here's the thing. I am easily entertained depending on the day. So I like a whole wide range of movies. Everything from I like comedies, I like dramas, um, I'll watch a war movie if it's entertaining. A lot of superhero stuff, a lot of genre stuff, a lot of fantasy stuff.
Cool. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is Robin McKinley's The Blue Sword.
How come?
It's been my favorite book for years and years and years. That's actually the book that I read when I was 11, that after I got done reading that book, I wanted to be a writer. So I could tell
Wow,
stories as good as she did.
that's awesome. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is blue.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you're going to say no yellow. All right.
No, I'm not going to say yellow. Despite the fact that people keep giving me yellow dye, yellow is not a favorite color. I actually don't even really like yellow.
There's a whole like subcontext of like supreme loathing involved with yellow that I totally forgot about with Lotro.
Yeah, well, because in Lotro, stuff that's dyed yellow just looks awful.
So why cosmetics? Why?
Why cosmetics? Because if you're going to play a game, why would you not dress your character to look as good as they can?
Good point. Good point. Um,
And there's honestly, you can. I mean, I did a stream about it. You can make a good-looking outfit for next to nothing. I mean,
yeah.
they give you 2 free cosmetic slots. 2 free cosmetic outfit slots. They don't charge you anything to use those. They don't charge you anything to put cosmetics on. And you can get a decent outfit for like a handful of silver. So I guess I'm going to answer the question with a question. Why not?
There you go. So you kind of got into cosmetics after Sithrith. Were you into cosmetics before that as well?
Yes. She actually was kind of an inspiration for me to go beyond my comfort zone and try different things, because I was kind of in a rut where I knew how certain things looked, so I could put an outfit together in half a dozen seconds and be done. And she actually inspired me to look beyond that and try out new things and put together different looks and try on all of the things. And then they introduced cosmetic weapons and shields, and it's like, yeah, I take ages now at the vendor because you have to try everything on. You have to try everything. Weapons, shields, everything.
Yeah. Is Lotro your favorite game for cosmetics?
Yes.
That was a quick answer.
Yeah. Well, I've tried quite a few MMOs. Not all of them, obviously, but quite a few, and it's definitely got my favorite system because they don't charge you anything. It's totally free. It's extremely easy to use. It's actually really intuitive. So yeah.
Cool. Jeremy in the chat asks, why so many characters in Lotro?
Because I'm addicted to alts, and I don't like to be tied down to a specific playstyle. So I have this alt for that thing and that alt for that thing, and if I want to try something else, I'll just roll a new character rather than trying to respec.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found that alts are the best cure to burnout, at least short term. Now, if your goal is to get like all your characters to cap, then maybe not so much, and it'll lead to much more burnout. But if you do it over, just creating an extra character here and there, I think it can really help keep interest in the game.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is the way I learn skills is by having them come in and figuring out where they go on the bar as they come in. So for the classes that I haven't gotten to cap, which I've only gotten Champion, Hunter, and Runekeeper to cap, anytime I'm trying to learn something different, I basically have to start from scratch anyway.
True. You have a lot of champions. What do you like about the champions so much?
Because champions are awesome. For details, you can listen to Lotro Academy's Champions episode when it comes out.
That's true. I've heard that it's
Because I talked a lot.
yeah.
Brannick is still editing that episode. Yeah, I talked a lot about champions. I just think that champions are really, really cool.
Yeah, I also talked in a separate recording of the same episode. We'll see how all that gets edited together. We had
Yeah.
technical issues and timing issues and all sorts of other stuff. So if you're interested in champions, there could be one, maybe two episodes about that coming out soon on Lotro Academy. So if you're interested in all about what the champion's about, that would be a good time to tune in.
Yeah, not that I'm trying to plug Lotro Academy or anything, but I mean, I already had this discussion, 2 weeks ago?
Max in the chat says you talked a lot.
We did. We talked a lot.
Yeah, we did. multiple hours, more than one.
Yes, twice, because the first recording got lost, and
Yeah.
the second recording ended up being even longer.
As sometimes they end up being. Niall in the chat asks Xing Xing. I think that's a legitimate question. I don't know if he knows what Xing Xing means. So if you
That
could
is a
explain that.
legitimate question. It was basically probably a guess about why champions are awesome. That is one of the many, 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 many reasons why champions are awesome. Is the Xing Xing. Um, One of the things I'll go ahead and say here, although you can hear it again if you listen to the Academy, I actually run Redline on my main champion. My main Terry is a Redline champion, but she's got enough trait points that she's traded into yellow that she has the Xing Xing, even in Redline. So I basically have the best of both worlds because I have the AoE of the yellow line Xing Xing, and then I have all of the crit stuff that you get from Redline. So I basically just kill lots of things really fast.
Cool. Changing subjects quite a bit, Brennick does ask if you could travel anywhere in the universe, all expenses paid, and no worries about hostile environments, where would you like to vacation and why?
Um, hmm, that's a good question.
Quite the question, yeah. For me personally, I've answered this in previous Ask Anythings. I've always wanted to go to Rome. I know that anywhere in the universe, but I think Rome would be, the rest of the universe would be pretty lonely. I think, unless we happen to find other people out there. Um,
That's a
and
good point,
so
actually.
I think that going, I mean, it would be cool to be like the first person to go to X planet, but I think that for me, Rome is just pretty cool. So much history there, and I'm a big history buff. Actually, a history minor. Graduated from college with a history minor, so definitely want to go someday and see Rome. And also, I love Italian food, so that's just another plus. What about you, Terry? All expenses paid. Where'd you go?
Don't have to worry about hostile environments. I don't know. I don't really do the vacation thing. I mean, the last time I took a vacation, I went to Florida to go to Airthird's wedding, so, and that was the first actual vacation that I'd had in like a decade, at least. Um, the other thing too is I'm online so much anymore that really I would just like a bubble in the house that I could vacation in peace for like a week. My ideal vacation isn't really to go anywhere, it's just to be undisturbed for like a week.
Yeah, I also do enjoy taking vacations just at home, being
Which is
undisturbed.
probably really boring, but I don't know, I don't really have any places that I've really just been dying to see. I think I've grown out of that phase.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any other hobbies outside of stuff we've already talked about?
Um, well, reading, but I guess we talked about reading. I do read a lot of books. Um, I have a e-reader that's loaded up with stuff because that's easier to cart around than like piles of books.
What are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? I am on a reread of the Iron Druid Chronicles.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in book 5.
Very cool. Do you have any pets?
We have several pets. None of them are mine, but they're all in the house. We have 3 Chihuahuas, which is a former breeding pair and one of the puppies from their last litter before they got fixed. We have a Scarlet Macaw who's out of his teens now. I think they were saying he was 20 years old, who's extremely loud. A pair of cockatiels, 2 fish, and a cat. I live in a zoo.
Not quite as much as Maven, but pretty close.
No, Maven's menagerie definitely tops ours because she's got horses.
Yeah, she's got quite the load out there of pets, I think. Noah should have just built his ark right next to Maven's property. So, if you could change anything about Lotro, aside from the Bjorning, what would it be?
Um, I would implement what I have asked them to implement, and I would make it so that the shared wardrobe can be copied to all, um, to every server. That's actually one of the things that Star Wars has is if they've got a collections thing where you can collect an outfit and then you can unlock it for everybody on your account. I think Lotro needs something like that, so you can just take an outfit and have it available for all of your characters, regardless of where you happen to wind up.
So that
And
covered.
nobody's surprised that that answer has to do with cosmetics, right?
No. So that covered the feature side. From a location point of view, where would you like to see Lotro go at some point? Doesn't have to be in the near future. What would you like
I
to
want
see?
to go to Dale.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And there's actually stuff that's going on there right now, like right now in the
Yes,
timeline.
like right now. I want to see Dale and Erebor and all that other stuff that needs to just be in the game so we can go there.
That'd be real cool.
I'm the person who, goes through the Bells of Dale instance and then I take a walk back through the town before I leave it.
All right, chat room. I am asking for more questions. I've come up with quite a few on the spot here. Asking for you guys for more. I also had quite a few prepared. Um, I am asking for more questions from the chat here. I do have another one though. First of all, what got you started on Teriadwyn's Closet, and how has it evolved over time?
What got me started on Teriadwyn's Closet was I had been thinking about a blog for a while, um, and I knew that I actually had the blog for a while. It wasn't called Teriadwyn's Closet, and there was nothing posted on it, but I had the domain name already, and I finally was just like, you know what? I should really just do because I was posting quite a few outfits to Twitter at the time, and I said I really should just do a blog post, and then I can because I would post a screenshot, and then everybody's like, well, what is this outfit? So I was like, well, I should just go ahead and put it in a blog post, and then I can identify what it is and what it's dyed and where you can go get it. And so how it's evolved over time is I am not posting as frequently as I used to, but I do still post to it. In fact, I have an outfit that I just need to take screenshots for my next post.
And Brax does ask a question which I think he mistyped a little bit, but he does say, "Are you going 2-2 with the new character appearance after the revamp?" I'm assuming he's
I think
asking,
he
"What are you
means.
going to do with the new character appearance after the
Actually, I think
revamp?"
he's asking, am I going to go with the new character appearance after the revamp? And that depends entirely on how it looks. Nobody's shocked at that answer either, right?
Not really. What would you hope that they would do with a new character appearance?
Well, I would love for them to fix it so the elves aren't crooked.
They do look like that they're looking at the Leaning Tower of Pisa all day.
I mean, I get the arrogant elf stance when they're just standing there because they've got the hip cocked out and it looks really cocky. But I kind of really wish that they would fix it.
So, speaking of elves, you in the past have been known to be, not the biggest fan of the
Nope.
elves. Why? Why don't you like the elves?
Well, again, it's not necessarily that I dislike elves, it's just I don't particularly care for them. I mean, I think it goes back to there's so much fiction in which elves are super special and sparkly and everybody should love them. And you have to remember that my main is a human champion. So, and honestly, as far as Middle Earth is concerned, elves are going away. So why are we all happy that they're still around? Go away. Leave it to the humans. We can take care of business.
Very true. Very true. I wish that there was less elves in Lotro already. I feel like it's already kind of oversaturated. Unless we went to like the elven part of Mirkwood, in which case, there'd need to be quite a few more elves there. But other than that, I feel like that we got elves pretty well covered.
I mean, I have elf characters, but it's not my favorite race to play. My favorite race to play would definitely be human.
Yeah, I have an elf character, but we don't talk about that.
Yes, you have an elf hunter named Andang on Arkenstone.
There's a chance, and you totally can't, log in to the game and verify that by adding me as a friend on Arkenstone. Uh, so, was there anything that you wanted to be asked today that you weren't asked so far?
I don't think so. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it, honestly.
Why did you agree to do this?
Well, because it's Ask Terry Anything, not Terry is guaranteed to answer you.
Very true. Very, very true. Answers are not required
Answers are not guaranteed.
or guaranteed. Okay, outside of the Lotro people, or people are there any Twitch streamers or YouTubers or people like that you like to watch?
Um, there is a guy who's from Wales called Papa Boom, who is a lot of fun to watch. He was streaming Lotro when I first happened across him, and then he streamed some Star Wars. And the last time I caught him, he was streaming Dark Souls something. And it's less about what he plays and more about the interaction with the audience, plus the accent. Um, and I'm a sucker for a good accent. And there's a guy called Rushlock who normally streams Eve, but he streamed Lotro once, which is how I happened to find him. And um, he also has done some Star Wars stuff, and he's really good about interacting with his chat, which is amazing because his chat is always, always, always packed with people and runs by so fast that I can't keep track of it. But he's really good about keeping up with chat and engaging his audience, and um, I catch that one occasionally. I sort of haven't been watching just because it's harder to do when I'm playing Star Wars.
Yeah, makes
It's
sense.
easier to do it when I'm playing Lotro.
And you do play a lot of Star Wars.
I do play a lot of Star Wars. I've been playing more Star Wars, well, probably about half and half Star Wars lately.
What about Star Wars that has gripped you so much? Because used to you're just playing Lotro at first, and now you've branched out quite a bit.
Well, initially it was the story, because the writing for some of the class quests is really, really good. Um, More recently, it's been, and this is going to sound really silly to probably half of the audience, it's been because I can go to Star Wars and nobody knows who I am, and your friends list in Star Wars doesn't cross characters, so if I'm on a different character and I haven't friended people, I don't necessarily know that they're on, and I don't feel obligated to say hi, even though that they don't know who I am anyway. So, plus there's a 250% XP boost going on over there right now.
How
Funny
bad?
story, Brannick and I made new smugglers the other day, and we were doing the initial quests, and I hit level 5 a little bit before he did. I'm not really sure why, because we had been doing the same things, but for whatever reason I was getting just a little bit more XP, possibly because I'm a subscriber still. Um, so I hit level 5 a little bit before he did, and he hit level 5, and then we moved up a little bit and got XP for an exploration thing. So before his animation had cleared for leveling up to 5, he leveled up to 6. So
That's pretty cool.
it's leveling so fast right now, and it's just amazing and ridiculously crazy. But it means you can basically just focus on the class story, and um, I think that tends to streamline. That's actually what happened the last time. Back in October, they were running double XP, and so I just focused on class stories and then ran through a whole bunch of them.
So it seems that you like to have privacy as far as if people know that you're online or not. You do that on Skype, Discord, in game.
Yes.
How come?
Well, because I'm online a lot more than I tell people I'm online, and I don't necessarily want everybody to be able to track how much time I spend online.
Okay, cool. Thinking of more questions now, Terry. I'm stalling, kind of, not really. Stalling with silence. That's what's going on.
Stalling with silence, yeah.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
Um, well, we haven't actually talked in a little while. How are things going since college graduation thingy?
Graduation, awesome. So much fun. After that, been looking for a job and had several places get to the final stage and then say, well, we went with a guy that had more experience.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, and have continued to apply at a ton of places. I'm actually spending like 40 hours a week right now applying at places. And rest of the time is YouTube stuff. And part of the reason why I actually left the Players Alliance was because I just didn't have time to do that in YouTube anymore. I really didn't, because I'm spending so much time trying to get a job. And so because of that, haven't really had time to do both, but I've really started focusing on YouTube and have been kind of consistently getting in a groove of getting a video out a day. That's actually even been a struggle, just to get a single video out every single day. Partly because my content is so much more edited now, where I'll record, for example, one of the recent episodes, which people are like, why is this one so short? Well, I recorded like 30 minutes, but like half of it was traveling in Lotro between all these places, and so it kind of jumps around quite a bit, where there's just this like a bunch of just random stuff going on, and it took a while to find these things that we were supposed to find in this forest, and also had to yell at a bunch of orcs to go run and flee. This was with March of the King, and I cut that down to where I had like back to back of me just yelling on my character is how I edited it. And then so I did that for 3, and then the fourth one is 3 more because we had to get 6. So 3 more all at the same time yelling, and you see all 3 on the screen at the same time. It's pretty funny, I think, anyway.
That's great.
So anyway, having to record a lot of time just to get a short episode and edit it down does take quite a bit of time. So, been busy doing that. What about you? What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot actually. Lotro, Star Wars, ESO.
Have you started March of the King? Because I remember for quite a while you hadn't started that yet.
I have not. I still have not. But actually ran with Sanswinda yesterday, and we got a fair bit of the epic done, early Minas Tirith stuff, so before update 18. Because basically my plan right now is to run the Runekeeper through all of that with her, and then get her caught up to where Terry is, and then Terry can take over and she can... That way I'll have friends to go do the update 19 stuff. March of the King.
Yeah, makes sense. What are you looking forward to most with Mordor?
Going in and playing in Mordor.
Okay. Um, Brax in the chat does say, "Friend me in ESO, Terry. Drax got a guild."
Yeah, Brannick has a guild too that I'm already in.
All right. Denied Brax right here live on Ask Anything. There you go.
But type the name of your character, because maybe I'll add you to my friends list and can. Because I play ESO on Tuesdays with Brannick and Pineleaf. I did the. I did the. Brannick and I did the starter quest to open up housing, and they award you with what they call an in room, and it's actually a closet. So Brannick made the joke that I had another closet.
That's pretty funny. Sorry, I was lost in a train of thought because I was thinking of another question, which is, we haven't really talked about Miller Lore very much. So, what is it like to be working on Miller Lore? This is a
Um,
dangerous question for me.
Dangerous question for you. What was it like working on Middle Earth War? Well, it was Andang calling anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day, depending on how long the calls were going. Um, and then constant Skype messages, because there were like 5 groups that, even though I was technically only script editor, I was in like all of the groups on Skype. So I was getting constant Skype messages about the progress of the project. And I actually was looking at the folder today. It looks like we've got scripts done for like 8 episodes.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, we got quite a bit of scripts done. I will be wanting to review scripts because I don't remember exactly where we left off. So just making sure that, we are at the right location if and when we do move forward. Main reason we haven't been moving forward is because my channel's been growing at a faster rate than Middle Earth Lore has been gaining views. And so it's just not been making sense for me to dedicate the amount of time it would take to make another episode in order to make an episode with the amount of views that have been going, which is kind of sad because I really want to make more episodes, but right now I'm struggling just to keep daily episodes going.
It is a
So
tremendous amount of work doing Middle Earth lore.
it really is.
Like, I
And
learned more about Tolkien that I had never known before. Of
same.
course, I already knew I didn't like elves going into the project, so I was really glad that I didn't have to do a whole lot about the elf chapter. Um, but no, it was a lot of fun. The behind the scenes bit that people may or may not know is that Andang and I fought over the Bill the Pony bit in the Brie episode. Like there were heated words exchanged on Skype about Bill the Pony. I did not. I wanted to cut Bill the Pony.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did cut down the part of Bill the Pony quite a bit because I think there was even more Bill the Pony than there
There
was
was
of
more
even
Bill
what
the
we
Pony.
kept. So we kind of compromised and had other people look at it and had them basically solve our argument for us pretty much. And the large amounts of calls and stuff like that was early on in Middle Earth Lore. As we started to slow down our production schedule because we realized that we literally can't be releasing episodes that often with how popular the series was. It just wasn't making any sense. The calls slowed down quite a bit.
Yes.
I'd say now there's probably very little to no stress involved with Middle Earth Lore, just because we don't have like a specific timetable that we're really trying to target anymore.
Yeah, not being on a deadline has helped immensely because it's cuts down on everybody's stress.
Yeah, because we were wanting to release an episode every other week,
Yeah.
which we could have done, but there would have been absolutely nothing else coming out on my channel other than Middle Earth Lore, and we'd all be miserable. So instead of that, we decided to space them out a bit more, quite a bit more recently. And I was actually looking back at Ask Anythings and realized that this, even though it's been 6 months since we've done our last Ask Anything, this is actually one of the shortest periods that we've gone without Ask Anything, if you can believe that. 6 months is
Wow.
actually a short period of time for this series being on hiatus, apparently.
Well, You got to line up the person you want to ask, and then you got to get all your questions together, and then you got to figure out when everybody's available, even though it's only two people, because sometimes schedules don't mesh.
And I was just doing other stuff because there was Lotra Players and college and YouTube and all that stuff.
Right.
And it's it's kind of funny because in the Brax episode, I was like, yeah, I want to do more of these like once a month, and then it's like 6 months later, here we are. So, do apologize. I really do want to be doing these more often. I'm hoping to do a Pine Leaf one soon because I think Pine Leaf. I'll put it this way. I had Pine Leaf when these were Patreon rewards as the top Patreon reward because I think that Pine Leaf is somebody that's unlike anybody I know.
Yes.
And what's crazy is he's like that off the air as well.
Yes.
Because a lot of people think it's an act. It's not.
No, that's
That's
just
how Pine Leaf is.
That's just Pine Leaf.
And I don't know where he gets it from. I don't know if I want to know where he gets it from. But anyway, that should be coming down the pipeline. Last call, chat room, for questions. If you have any questions to ask Teriadwyn, feel free to do so. And are there any questions you'd like to ask yourself, Terry?
I don't think so. Actually, yes, I do, because I haven't heard this story. How did you and Pine Leaf meet? Ish, you know.
How did I meet Pine Leaf? I don't know if I know this story. I believe that. Okay, I do know this story, and it's actually kind of funny. So, I was a writer for Casual Stroll to Mordor. Pine Leaf was also a writer for Casual Stroll to Mordor. At the time, Pine Leaf was like this amazing like person that I wanted to meet someday, but might not ever meet, kind of a thing. He was the skirmish master, and just really awesome at it. And so I don't remember if we did a podcast on an update talk, which was our update reviews back then on Casual Stroll to Mordor, or not. There might have been an episode of that first, or it might have been me wanting to have Pine Leaf on my YouTube channel. And I remember asking Golden Star, if I could, invite Pine Leaf to go on my YouTube channel, because I just wanted to, make sure to clear everything first. And she was like, "We don't own Pine Leaf." You realize Pine Leaf does a Lotro Academy podcast as well. I didn't know that Lotro Academy existed at that point. And so Pine Leaf, me asking Casual Stroll, I think I knew that it existed, but I didn't know Pine Leaf was on it. And I think I had actually listened to a couple episodes. But Pine Leaf was really the gateway to getting me to meet Brannick and everybody else. So I actually, out of the people on Lotra Players, Pine Leaf was the first person that I met. Even though Brannick ended up being the first person that we brought on the network. So it's just kind of interesting how that all worked. But Pine Leaf was there at the start as well. And I really don't know why Pine Leaf keeps putting up with everything that I do to him. I really don't. I expected, there was one skirmish video early on, I remember, where I was like, I don't think he's going to come back. I don't think he's gonna do another video with me ever again, because I just pulled everything and was purposely going out of my way to kind of annoy him because it made the episodes so much funnier. And I really don't know why Pine Leaf puts up with me, but I'm glad he does, because when you push Pine Leaf's buttons, really funny stuff comes out of the computer. It's awesome.
This is true. As anybody who's ever been on an Academy field trip can attest, that Pine Leaf makes some very funny sounds when his buttons get pushed.
Yes, and we probably owe him a therapist or 3.
Yeah, probably.
And I remember back in the early Lotra Players days, by that point, we had been pretty good friends, and I don't know why we're good friends. I really don't. But I think that we are. And asked him if he wanted to do a news show because we didn't have a news show. Lotra Reporter was kind of slowing down on their regularity, and we also just had a ton of site news that we wanted to cover because really there wasn't that much Turbine news at the time. It was mostly just our own site news that we were wanting to talk about. And so we decided to go ahead and do a news show. And had quite a bit of fun with it at the start. We really didn't know what we were doing. But, you know, things just kind of progressed and we got better and better at it each week. And at the start, what's funny is Pineleaf was just supposed to be the guy that does the episodes when I was not hosting. So he was just going to be the host like on the non-big news weeks, just covering like the normal news of the site, just real quick episodes. He ended up being the head host for every episode after the second episode. Well, the second episode and after, because he was just so funny at doing it. It was just too good having him move everything along. He just did a much better job at keeping the show going and keeping the show interesting and always funny whenever he moved us along, because he would do it at the perfect moment where like a joke had just started and he'd say, "Alrighty then, moving on."
He does have a really good sense of timing.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we will be doing an Ask Pineleaf Anything at some point in the nearish future. Jeremy in the chat asks, why are the pink tracksuits awesome on the Bergs in the 40 Thieves kinship?
Jeremy is mistaken because they are not.
Very true. And Brax does say, it's great to try to throw Pineleaf off, and I agree. It's awesome. And
yeah, it never stops being funny.
And Teriadwyn in the chat says, never stops being funny, Brax. Smiley face.
It's always entertaining.
On that note, I think this is a good place to end off. If you do have any questions for Terry that you want to ask after the show, where can they reach you, Terry?
You can find me on Twitter at Teriadwyn.
And you also do a lot of other awesome stuff for the community, if you want to plug all that stuff.
I am a co-host of the Girls of Middle-earth stream every other Sunday on the Signum U Twitch channel. I also have my own Twitch, which is currently on hiatus because I'm just trying to find a decent day to do it that doesn't conflict with girls and other group stuff. And then there's the blog, which is, I don't remember. Don't have it. You can do a Google search for Teriadwyn's Closet, and that'll bring it up.
Yeah.
It's outfits and other stuff. Mostly outfits.
Yeah, it is princessterraria.wordpress.com.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Terry, for joining us. This has been a lot of fun learning more about you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I always enjoy these shows because you find out stuff that you don't know about the people that you talk with all the time. And so it's just kind of cool to see, you know, the other side of people. And so that's why I really like this series. And hopefully you guys do as well. If you do, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, and we'll keep doing these if we get likes. And let me know in the comments below, either live here or after the video, who you'd like to see me do an Ask Anything next. Only caveat is they have to be somebody I know, so like somebody I've talked with already on Lotra Players, or somebody in the community that would be fairly easy to get. If you want to suggest other people beyond that, you can. Probably not going to happen because it's kind of out of my control. But there you go. That's the offer. And let me know in the comments all that stuff. Thank you everyone so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you again real soon for more content.